In the Valve Source Utilities menu, under Characters, we have the Valve Biped guide. It's very similar to the guide we have just used, except that this one focuses on the skeleton of characters you will use in Valve games. Now that I have a guide, go to Valve Source, Characters, and create rig from guide. The process may take a while, and it's going to open a lot of windows. Once it's done, go ahead and close all those windows. We can middle click to select and erase the guide. What is left is a rig similar to the one we were already using. The controls for the spine are these little spheres. The same with the head, the neck to the head, the shoulders, the hands move with inverse kinematics, the elbows, and the same for the knees. Very similar to our last rig. Now let's apply it to a character. Now that we have the rig made, let's import a character. Press 5 to open the browser. Go to DB201, Models, and we have the nsc.emdl. You'll notice that the character is scaled much smaller than the rig. This is because the Half-Life 2 characters use a specific larger scale. To scale our guy up to match, press 8 to bring up the Explorer, S for Scene, and then F to Find. Then we're going to cut the model and erase the parent, X on your keyboard to scale, and we're going to scale our character uniformly from the center to just about match the proportions of the Valve rig. Switch to the front view, press G to turn off the background grid, and look for a scale that matches the rig. It may help to switch to a user view and spin around, checking areas like the hands to ensure that they're lining up. Go back to your camera view. Switch to shaded. And it seems to fit pretty good. Okay, next you'll notice that in the transform panel, the values for scale under X, Y, and Z axis are 4.39. So that our scale will work correctly, we need to scale the model and choose Transform Freeze All Transformations. If we don't, we're going to end up with a skewed character within our game. So before we compile, be sure that you've frozen all transformations and that your scale is listed at 1, 1, 1. Okay. Choose Model, New Model, and what this does is take our existing mesh of our character model and makes it a child of the new model object. So when we export using our SMD exporter, the plugin will first look for our new model and then reference the existing mesh underneath. Now we just have to apply the envelope. So select the object, go to Animate, Envelope, Set Envelope, select Yes, press 8 to bring up the Explorer, go to Biped, and middle click on Envelope Deformers. Right click to exit, and there we have it. You can try grabbing some different controls and effectors and moving them around a bit to see how its movement is working out. There are a few parts we're going to need to fix or work out a bit more. So again, apply a smooth. And let's start to paint a bit. These parts on the vest have to be reassigned to the bone inside. So go to Pick, and pick that bone inside. W to paint, and just start painting. This way, if I move it, it's going to affect the vertices inside, so they don't move around quite as much. This way, if we move the arm, it won't pull in the chest quite as much. We still want a little movement as the arm rotates, especially up top, but we want to give more influence in the chest and the neck to the bones in the spine. And paint more influence under his arms and out in the chest. We could also spend some time working with the legs, just making sure that each leg isn't pulling too much on the other. Since I've gone ahead and prepared it already, we could also use a presets table to automatically load new weight data for our characters. Select the mesh, press Ctrl E to open the weights editor, go to File, Load Preset, in DB201, and in the Presets folder, we have NSC Weights, which should work out pretty well. I should mention some potential problems. We're almost ready to export, but first we really should check the number of triangles used within our model. You can click on the little eye, Visibility Options, Stats, and check the box to show Selection Info. Now we see our model, and up in the corner it tells us how many triangles it contains. Now we're at about 5,400, and that's an acceptable number, so we can move on and export our model. We'll talk more about the problems too many triangles can cause when we get to our troubleshooting section later on.